What's going on, YouTube? This is SG1 Sports here on the Penn State channel at the Voice of College Football. We're going to give you a very early projected record for the Nittany Lions for the upcoming 2023 season. All right, here's the schedule for Penn State again. You can see Ohio State, Michigan. Those, of course, are going to be the tough games. This is the scale that we'll be using to make these projections. The odds to win, if it's between 40 and 60%, those are really your 50-50 games. The games where I think the spread will be less than a touchdown. Under 20, over 80, those are games where I think the spread will be over 20 points. In the orange and the blue, the 20 to 29, 71 to 80%, those are games where I think the spread will be double digits. Kind of in the 10 to 20 range. And then 30 to 39, 61 to 70, those are games where I think the spread will be about a touchdown, 6, 7, 8 points, kind of in that range. So let's get to it here with Penn State. We'll start with the easy wins. I think you've got Delaware, UMass, Indiana, and Rutgers. All four of those games are games that Penn State should really have no problem winning. You look at Indiana and Rutgers. If those games are on the road, maybe they'd be in the blue, but playing at home, it would be a big surprise if Penn State were to lose either one of those. So I think you can almost count on 4 wins, pretty much guaranteed. Then we'll go to the games in the blue. West Virginia, Northwestern, Michigan State. Assuming Northwestern and Michigan State are similar to what they were last year, they should not be much of a challenge. The games are on the road, but Penn State clearly the better team. I think they'll be favored by double digits in those games. And I think they'll be favored by double digits against West Virginia at home. Again, I think most of these 3 games, they're probably looking at spreads between 14, 17 points, kind of in that range. Again, Penn State clearly favorites in those. And so that gives you 7 games that they should win without too much trouble. And then we'll get to these other 5 games, starting with the 61 to 70% range. Again, these are games where I think Penn State will be favored by about a touchdown, 6, 7, 8 points. I think you've got Illinois, Iowa, and Maryland. All 3 of those games fit into this category. Illinois, if they can build off of what they did last year, they should be a pretty good team. It's on the road early in the season. Penn State probably favored by about 8 if I had to guess. And kind of the same thing with Iowa. I think Iowa has a chance to be a top 25 team this year with some transfers they brought in. If they can, if Cade McNamara can give them a little bit more out of that quarterback position. But the game is at home. So again, I think Penn State will be favored by 7 or 8 points in this one as well. And then Maryland, he talked about that game. It's a trap game for sure. Right before playing Michigan, it's on the road. Maryland figures to be pretty good this year. So I think Penn State probably goes into that one about a 6-point favorite. But again, all 3 of those games are games that are not guaranteed wins, but I think Penn State will definitely be the favorite. It's pretty clear in those 3 matchups. And then that leaves Ohio State and Michigan. I think these are your 50-50 games, your toss-up games that could go either way. Look, I know Michigan absolutely destroyed Penn State last year, but it's a new year. The game is at Penn State this year. That's why I'm putting it here. I think Michigan will be favored, but only by 3 or 4 points. Ohio State, I think, will be favored as well by 3 or 4 points. So I do think Penn State will be underdogs in both of these games, but not huge underdogs. And it's close enough to where I think, again, these can be considered 50-50 games that could go either way. And so when you average all this out, the way we do it, we count the blue and the green games as wins, and then we average everything else out. The white games will be used as 50%. And then the purple will be considered 65%. You average all that out, and the projection would be in those 5 games, Penn State would go 3-2, and that will give them a 10-2 record. So the projection for them 10-2, and basically the way the odds would work, it would tell you that, if you have 2 50-50 games, Ohio State, Michigan, they're going to win 1, and they're going to lose 1. And then you've got your 65% games, Illinois, Iowa, and Maryland. It will tell you that they're probably going to lose 1 of those games. They'll go 2-1 in those 3 games and split Ohio State and Michigan. That may not be how it goes down, but again, that just kind of tells you how you get to that 10-2 record. It could be that they win all the games in the purple and they lose to Ohio State and Michigan, or they beat Ohio State and Michigan and lose to Illinois and Maryland. However you want to get to it. Again, that projection for Penn State in 2023 is 10-2.